All right, let's get into the royal flush with Harry and Charles and William and Kate and Meghan and bring some beginning points of light on this, okay? So, the way I see things going at the point for that great tribulation time frame, Elon Musk is the so-called Dark Knight, as he is going to be displayed as the Antichrist, trying to bring in that mark in the foreheads or the right hand, or the satanic worshiper, or the gay dude who's having sex with a bunch of women and having a bunch of babies, those types of things. So he's that kind of figure. And then Trump, he's the dawn of time. So he's a central, he's like the capstone and the cornerstone. He's connecting the old and the new. So he's working two sides of the coin. And then Biden and Obama, they're going to reflect a light and be some kings. Harry, they're part of that part of the millennial reign stuff setting up for like 2028, 2029, 2032, those types of time frames. So I'm not sure when exactly these things are going to manifest. But Princess Diana and James Hewitt, according to James Hewitt, he disclosed an affair with her, but him and Prince Harry are the legitimate dad and son. All right. And then Prince Charles, he is the stepfather, and he is Diana was with quite a bit of dudes supposedly, according to the storylines, but Charles, more than likely, according to the conspiracy theories and different things, to the truth of community and all these things, putting all this stuff together, Charles more than likely put out a hit on her over so many years, so it wouldn't look like he was responsible for it. And that's the Charles Mann son. These things are tying in where he said, "Well, I didn't kill anybody. They killed for me," or those types of things. So that could be where he can get the hitman on them. And then they died in the tunnel, and the Fox is under the tunnel right now. So that's part of Trump being under the tunnel in that middle deal, that middle time frame for the cards being passed on, the poker, the Texas Hold'em, the poker place in hell, and those types of things. But as Prince or Charles, he said he would take care of this child, right? And it can be for today's purposes, for that long-term script, or it can just be to keep things calm in the royal family and not to be disturbed with the tabloids and the paparazzi and those types of things going on. Because then we could also see how the paparazzi and the tabloids and all that stuff was a little bit different in the 80s and 90s. And then supposedly she died from being chased in the paparazzis or whatever's going on with that story, all right? I forget all the details on it. But we'll be going kind of piecing these things together maybe in the future and connecting these points of light. But Prince Harry, let's get to what's going on with them, because more than likely, okay, they didn't tell him that Charles, they lied to him. They said that Charles was his dad, okay? And Charles isn't his dad. And more than likely we had that RNA shit come out, that RNA for the ribonucleic acid, for the armies that gathered for the COVID thing. We could have that DNA, and the RNA is the messenger, the messenger, that Jerusalem and such, but the messenger for the light, for the DNA, that's the light in the body, and that DNA for Harry to spark up, and that redheaded stepchild, that problem child, to step forward and bring that seamless steel for that throne in one way, and that Esau and Jacob, the red hair, the heel grabber, that's the like grabber pussy, just like Trump did. That was that time of the Jacob's trouble back then, and the pill grabber for the hospital, and then you have or the pillow, then you have it playing out into a spiritual carnal, and it's going to fold into the carnal. For the next phase for the pilgrims, when the UN, the unrest comes and takes you all into those quarantine camps, if you got that old shot and shit. So the Prince Harry, he probably did a DNA test, or he did Ancestry.com or some shit like that, right? That we're all doing, supposedly. And then it comes back that he's not even part of the royal family in one way. And then he's, well, who's my dad? And then, you know what I mean? And then he goes back and starts looking at shit and says, well, put stuff together, right? So either way, and then a personal story of mine is I had an uncle who was married to his wife at the time, and she slept with his best friend, which was a neighbor on the street. She ended up getting pregnant by him, and my uncle ended up raising that child as his own. Well, they didn't tell him until he was 18 or 19 or whatever, when he was in the Navy, he was in the submarine class. But from the story goes, he never talked to him again. So this kind of shit where it kind of bites you in the ass, and where it's like, well, Charles probably went to the old Epstein Island, or he's tied to this, that, and the other. When you go down the rabbit trail, and then probably William, the dragon, is going to come to help give him Harry his power and such. And that he's tied to the 40 years in the wilderness of those things. But the Harry is over the next 4 years or whatever, is going to come in and help take out that royal family and that royal flush, and this is up for the crapture or whatever, right? So we'll see how fast they do these cards. Meghan, more than likely, is we're looking at the Alpha and Omega. Meghan, she is either a major mirror, or she's a major player that's going to be coming up, that's kind of a part of the secret sauce or whatever kind of thing. But we could see where Harry, a king from the UK and whatever, because like the UK, we got to look backwards in time, okay? So UK would come from Harry in a way, all right? So this is where Harry has to come here, and then through here, he's that feminine spirit, that feminine man in a way, but he's also masculine, but he is letting his woman lead, and this is where he comes to power here through his wife, where he's the first husband or whatever. But that's where you could have the rules made where you have to be born in America, and then we'll have like Made in America, and the Made in American can tie into that Trojan horse stuff that's going on with China Xboxes for the Pandora's box opening up, or we'll see where all that goes. That Tesla, the batteries for that lithium, that bipolar shit for that army of the North coming in another way. But the I'm having a brain fart. Either way, so the Harry thing, the Charles, the third is that the 3 ones, the 311s per se, and then that's help the Twin Towers. That's part of the Twin Towers, and the Twin 911 coming down. It's going to be over there, over here. I was saying how Harry, how the UK came from them. All right, the United States, the UK, that K for the 11, that God is even, and the God's being divided. Those things going backwards as we go forward. But Harry would be the birth of that, and then the red hair. The red hair is for the hell people, that hell nation or whatever. But he's giving birth to it as he comes out of it, kind of thing, in a way. And then the millennial reign can come into where these old people, the debate, we can see Trump, just a little side note, Trump and Biden coming in, might get that live stage event, but where they're both saying they're going to take a test, a cognitive test, a drug test, whatever, right? But maybe both of them both fail. And then this is where we get that millennial reign coming in another way, to where we start saying, hey, you can't be a certain age. And then we see Harry, he has that spare tire. So we see the retirement age. So maybe to where if you're retired, you can't run for politics. Or if you're over 65, you can't run for politics and those things. And that would be part of that bipolar, the bi for the Biden, the polar for the bears, with the foot of the bear, the people coming in and all those other things, because those animals are within the people, and those chakras, those are controlling the animals, and they're shocking them on the ass, and they're getting those animals to rise up through the people, okay? And as that flame, those 7 chakras, those 7 flames are burning very low, okay? They're going into darkness, and all these animals are coming out of them, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, okay? So the Charles Manson. All right, these things are going to be playing on that Helter Skelter. All right, it's all there in front of you in another way. We're in the times of the flip-flops for the sands of times. So I hope you enjoy the thongs between your toes. And that's the neck toes. The big freeze is upon you. And we might see Biden freeze in the debate. This debate is probably going to be a deep fake debate, because it's them alone, and this is the perfect setting for that live stage, and the Gordon or the Gordon or whatever going to go on. Okay. The gloves will come off. Anyways, folks. So just keep these things in mind with Harry. And Harry is part of that combs, and that hairy part, that hard part, for that hairstyle. And we might see something with William. He might be a secret drag queen or whatever, or Charles or whatever. But we're going to see these types of flips. They're probably tied to the comb stuff, or maybe Harry is, but more than likely it's Will or Charles related to the combs and the did he, those types of things. So, and then we're going to see the elongated Gates, the Bill Gates, and the elong. We've gone over that joke before in the past, and that would tie into the 12 horns that he's having with the 12 offspring and the women, and those things for the new, because he's getting a spiritual feed. So he's basically reading each kid as a feed for the horns coming forth to gather the old beast up. Okay, and that's why he has to have a child here and a child there on these end times, because he's reading these babies to bring forth a fresh eye for the baby sequence, for the puns and mirrors and stuff coming on to give to the world. Okay, so enjoy.